Welcome to Soul Conversations with Z, Healing in the Raw, where we keep it raw, real, and unfiltered. I'm Zachyra Rodriguez, a trauma specialist and marriage psychotherapist, and this is a space where we dive deep into the messy, yet beautiful and often difficult parts of life. Here we challenge ourselves to face our fears and dig deeper into self-discovery. I'm no newbie. I've navigated many rocky roads and consider myself a recovered traumaholic. Life hasn't been easy, but I truly believe that everything happens for a cause greater than ourselves. Whether you're grappling with grief, navigating trauma, healing from attachment injuries, or working on your marriage, we're here to unpack it all. No sugarcoating, just honest conversations about the struggles we face and the growth that comes from them. You matter, you are loved, even before your existence, and you are created to do great things. So grab a seat, my friend, take a long, deep breath, and let's get real together. Let's begin.
All right. Welcome, everyone. We are back again. Another episode, guys. I believe we're now down to episode number 20, if I'm not mistaken. But this is Zachyra Rodriguez with Soul Conversations with Z, Healing in the Raw. And I'm so excited today because we have two amazing ladies visiting us today. We actually have Dr. Rekishia McMillan, and we also have Pastor Thumbelina Newsome, and they are visiting with myself because of the fact that we're going to be actually doing some great work together. And we decided to come on here and just talk about freedom, right? Freedom as far as you meeting you. But before we get into all that, I want to ask both of you guys today, how's your heart? How are you showing up today in this moment? You know, that's the therapist and me talking right now. So who wants to go first as far as how is your heart and how are we showing up today?
I'm showing up happy. I'm excited.
Thrilled.
I'm just glad to be here and glad to be able to do God's work.
Yes, and
together.
It just shows all over your face. Yeah. Yes. From the time I walked into that conference room, you were just like, ooh. Even if you were having a bad day, you can't because she's just showing up.
That's right.
Yes, I love that. And what about for you, Rekishia?
You know, my heart is feeling centered today.
Ooh, I love that word.
Yeah, centered, because my morning started off a little bit later than I anticipated. But then I had to bring myself back in
to the center,
in that place of center, prayer, meditation, and I'm good.
Yes.
And so I'm feeling very, very centered today.
Yeah. I am showing up very excited. Excited for the moment, excited for the space. Just excited, and I think I'm just expecting. I'm expecting for some great things, for God to just do some amazing things through this encounter. I know you ladies just met maybe 15 minutes ago, but I'm just so excited just to see what God has in store for us, because imagine 3 different backgrounds, right? I'm a native of Panama, right? And I had to go through this whole transition to be here today. Right. So imagine 3 different locations. So I went from Panama to Philly, from Philly back to Panama, to then Florida, and then New York, and then New Jersey, to come to this space to be able to meet both of you guys. Right. And I've only met you, Thumbelina, maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. And I met you, Rekishia, a year, maybe year and a half ago, if that.
Yeah.
Right. So imagine these encounters, right? I just love them because they're ordained encounters that here we are today being able to actually do this podcast. So that's why I'm just so excited just to see what is coming, out of all of this. And because today the topic is, freedom, as far as what freedom looks to us, and pretty much us being able to show up for ourselves. And I want you guys to start thinking about that, because I'm going to share in terms of freedom for me looks more like me being able to live the life that God has fully created me to be, to live. Yes. That's just freedom, right? It could even look like as something as simple as being on a swing and just swinging. I always say, and people have heard me say this so many times, I'm going to be 95 years old, God willing, on a swing, and just living freely, because I truly believe that we do not understand what freedom looks like. So I want to give you guys the opportunity to talk about, freedom. And I'm going to open it up to you, Rekishia, in terms of what is freedom to you?
You know, I used to think freedom was about being free from chaos or pain, but I have come to learn and understand over the years that true freedom is inner peace.
Yes.
And that peace comes from knowing who I am in Christ. And that's what keeps me grounded. And so having the freedom to know who I am in Christ without any apologies.
Yes, unapologetic. That's my word.
Unapologetic.
You ladies know that. Unapologetic.
Being unapologetic about
Yes.
who I am
Yes.
and just embracing all of me the way that he embraces me.
Yes.
That is true freedom.
The way that he embraces me. Right. Yes. Because sometimes we could feel that hug and you're just like, you're going through so much, but you just feel such a peace. Right? Going through that. And I'm going to ask our pastor over here. Right? So, yeah.
I think freedom for me is like what you ladies said, to piggyback off of you guys, is just knowing who you are. Knowing who you are unapologetically, but also without fear, without, freedom from fear, freedom from grief, and just knowing who you are and not caring who understands it.
Ooh.
That's what freedom is for me. It doesn't matter what anybody.
Can you repeat that last part? Not
I hope I
caring.
can remember what I said.
Yes, I know. I have those moments too. I'll be like, oh, I don't know what I said. But not caring, right?
Not caring who understands it.
Right.
It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
Yes.
I am free.
Yes.
And that and free to be me, free in my skin. It's the most invigorating feeling in the world. And because I know I'm living the life that God has called.
Yes.
When you live in your purpose, oh my God, there's
But
freedom
that's
in
the
that.
thing. A lot of women do not understand what their purpose is. And I feel like that's why they're so stuck.
Yeah.
Right? As far as like being able to understand, like, what is my purpose? And I think a lot of us go to our graves not knowing that. And I've said this so many different times, is that I remember a pastor saying that, and he was talking about as far as like what that the graveyard is full of. He said, like, that's the richest place on earth. Because there's so many songs that were never sang, so many books that were never written. There's so many different projects that were supposed to be done. But because people were not walking in that freedom and in their purpose, they just allowed the enemy to just come and just take that away.
100%.
I agree, Sashi, because some of the things that I see is that so many women think that they're fulfilling their purpose when they're really, in fact, doing what other people think that they should be doing, and they relate that to their purpose. And because they're so caught up and so distracted in what other people are telling them what they should be and what they should be doing, that they lose total focus and
What they should be doing.
never move into their destiny.
100%. And I also think one of the infamous questions that I always get, what's my purpose? How do I find my purpose?
Yes. So what do you tell them?
And a lot of people are bound. You find yourself first. Don't look for the purpose. You got to look for you. And you can only find you through Christ. So I think that's where a lot of women are bound. They don't know who they are. They get when I ask them who they are, they tell me the role that they play. I'm a mother. I'm this, I'm that. And because so they're like, well, and I'm like, that's not who you are. That's what you do, right?
Yes.
And so they ask me, well, do you know who you are? I said, honey, I am the salt of the earth. I come to flavor the earth. I know who I am and I know why I'm here. And I'm doing it.
Yes.
That's why you're asking me, So I think that a lot of women, they don't, and it's not just women, men too.
Yes.
They don't know who they are. And I think about childhood and trauma.
Yes.
Trauma, I think, has tainted everything for a lot
my
of
gosh.
people.
Yes.
And, the enemy uses that. He uses that to hide the truth of who you are, because I often tell people the enemy is he's a thief, so all he's about is identity theft. He doesn't want you to know who you are. So that's what he steals the most, and he steals it by hiding you behind trauma, pain, grief, so I think a lot of people are lost because of those reasons.
And I think the biggest issue also is that we believe that what happened to us is who we are today. Right? We actually embrace that identity that, okay, well, this is what happened, so that means that this is who I am. Right? Or this is what I did, so this is who I am, right? And that's something that you did. That should not define who you are today, right? And we're all, a lot of people are, and you were just saying something too, even with men, and for the men that are listening, even though we have all these beautiful females on today, right? If you are listening and you're trying to figure out why your mamacita is acting the way that she's acting, there's a purpose, because maybe she hasn't even found that purpose. Maybe that's the reason behind that she may be timid and you may be the one seeing all these different things about her, but she doesn't get it because she has not found that true identity. And I love what you were talking about, trauma. We're going to get into that, in a little bit. And I just realized that we didn't even introduce you ladies because the conversation was just so sweet.
So good.
Yes. But I'm going to just do a little segue here, right? Yeah. And we're just going to introduce you ladies real quick. I know Dr. Rekishia, you've been on before.
Yes.
So we're going to have you introduce yourself, and then we'll go to Pastor Thumbelina, and then we'll continue our combo. Yes, it's just so good, though.
As you shared, the conversation has been so great.
Yes.
And so I am so thrilled to be back with you once again. Dr. Rekishia McMillan. So I have a background in Christian counseling, social work, integrative nutrition. My passion is helping women to become whole spirit, soul, and body. I help women to restore their energy, balance their hormones, lose weight, and to really be the best version of who God has called them to be.
Yes. Thank you.
Awesome. And me,
yes.
as you, of course, I'm a pastor. I'm an entrepreneur.
Yes.
I'm an author. Mom, wife, everything.
Yes.
And I'm just here to do God's work and to pour into his children and to help the ones who are lost and bring them to Christ so they'll know who he is and know who they are in finding him.
Yes. Thank you so much, ladies. So let's jump right back into our freedom conversation. So do you think that this has changed as you guys have gotten older? Do you think that freedom actually changes throughout our life seasons? What do you guys think?
I think freedom is a journey, and we do go through those different seasons of what we knew then, we grow and develop into becoming. So I think freedom is a journey, whether that's the pain we experience, whether that's the relationships that we are going through, even the trauma, as you ladies mentioned earlier, helps to develop us into that space of becoming free. Because had we not known some things or experienced some things, there's no way we would be able to achieve the level of freedom that we need at that particular stage in our lives had we not gone through some of those things. So it's a journey.
Yes. So it's important for us to go through those things pretty much in order for us to expand a little bit on that.
Oh yeah, without the pain, there can be no progress. Without the pain, there can be no progress, because after we've been through some of those things, we're wiser. We become more resilient.
Yes.
We have a deeper level of understanding, deeper discernment, because we have experienced that pain. So I can even think about some things in my own life that had I not been through some of those relationships, going through divorce, that opened my eyes to many things about myself, about relationships. Had I not experienced some of those heartaches, I would not have developed that sense of understanding to help other women who even may be navigating through that type of pain. And so it has certainly helped me to become free to help other women navigate that same path.
So you had to go through your own experience.
Yes.
And that experience is what shaped you to be able to help others through their now experience.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think for me, freedom is layered. I think I was telling you.
Yes, you were.
You can be financially free and still be spiritually bound. It's layers to freedom. And like she said, it's like a journey. And I think depending on what you go through will tell you where you can become free. So I think even for my personal journey, losing my husband was terrible. But I gained another layer of freedom because I was able to start telling people no. I mean, it was like I grew
Yeah.
cojones.
Ooh,
You know,
got
I'm like,
cojones.
what?
Okay.
Can you say that?
Not really, but we'll beep it out. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. He was here. I don't know what that is. Okay.
No, I don't even know the word.
It's
But
okay. Go ahead.
you grow
Yeah,
stronger.
yeah,
you
she
grow
grew
strong
stronger.
enough to where you can start telling people no, and start living in your truth instead of betraying yourself. Because self-betrayal was like, oh, I'll do it because you want me to go, and okay. Now somebody is like, do you want? No, I don't.
Yeah.
Why? Because I just don't want to.
Yes.
And now everybody knows better to ask me why, because I
Yes.
said so.
Yes.
I'm not doing anything. And I think grief has brought that out of me, and that was so liberating.
Wow.
And not only for me, and I think for my children, it was
Yeah.
so liberating for you to say what you really feel in a nice way.
Yes.
You know,
You speak the truth in love.
Yeah,
Yes. You speak it in love.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think that for me, it took a while. You know, you ladies have heard me say that I'm a recovered traumaholic. Been through so many different areas of trauma. We can list them. We don't have enough time to. But I think, yes, going back to grief. Grief was pretty deep for me. It could not have prepared me, you know, for what I actually went through. Like all the different sorts of trauma that I've been through, I think grief was the most devastating one. You know, losing my son. Many of our listeners have heard, you know, my story as far as like losing Anthony. And during that season, it was brutal. Now imagine a therapist having to actually help someone going through that season. I was able to take about 7 to 8 months off and really go through this recovery process, which it was brutal. But I could definitely tell you that that season changed me completely. I started questioning myself, though, because I had friends, people that were close to me, that would question, because I'm this outgoing person, and I'm always going to be like that. I remember telling my mom after Anthony died that she had said to me, those stupid doctors, and she went on and on. I said, Mom, para, just stop. I said, one of the things that I want to make sure is that I do not become bitter. I said, Anthony never knew me that way, and I do not want to become bitter.
Yeah.
And these are decisions that we have to make, because life will push you.
Yes.
And you have to decide at that moment if you're going to allow your experiences to pretty much hold you captive of who God created you to be. Or you're going to say, no, I'm not doing that.
100%.
That's right.
Yes.
And I think too, like you said, it's a choice. And I love that you chose being better over being bitter.
Yes.
And I think that's a
Absolutely.
big deal.
And
you know?
it was hard, because I
hard.
had people in my corner, people close to me saying to me, Zachyra, you need to go ahead and you need to be doing this event and you need to be doing that. And I'm like, it hasn't even been a year and you're telling me this?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I had to go check in with my own therapist, because
Yeah.
I said something wrong, because maybe I'm losing it.
Yeah.
But there will be people in your life that will actually tell you stuff, and they say it because they mean well, but they don't know the damage. Right. And I know you and I spoke about the stupid stuff that people say when a loved one passes away. That actually can stump you from growing and becoming actually who God created
And
you to
healing
be. Yes.
properly.
Yes. That word right there.
Yeah, healing properly.
Yes.
I remember when my husband passed away. I think my son might have been 19, my oldest. Yeah, he might have been 19. And I remember the baby was 7, and I had a daughter too. I think Michaela must have been about 16. She was 16. So I remember talking about healing properly. I used to have this chair in my room. We call it the therapist chair. So the kids would come in and sit, and I would always tell my oldest, can you pick him up? Can you take him to school? Can you help me? And he would just do it. And one day he came in the room and sat in that chair, and he says, Mom, I need to talk to you. And I said, talk to me. And he says, I'm not your husband.
Oh. Wow.
That was the most cathartic thing he could have ever done for me, because he helped reroute my healing process.
Wow.
Because I was healing with my arm on him, leaning on him, and that wasn't the job. That wasn't
So
what
he
I was
became
supposed to
your
do.
support.
He became my support.
Yes.
And he says, Ma, it's taken me a hard time to even try to feel his shoes. I can't do it. I need to be his brother. I'm not his dad, and I'm not your husband. And I said, thank you so much. I said, Mommy is so sorry, but thank you. I said, thank you for redirecting my grief so that I can heal properly. And it helped.
Yes.
And it was like, listen, that's your kid. You're stuck. This is how it is. This is life. Go do what you have to do. And it blessed my entire soul. It really
But
did.
what a blessing that your son was able to actually feel free enough to open up and feel safe enough to actually share that.
Yeah.
Because not everyone gets that opportunity. You know,
What a privilege.
it's a privilege because for me, I could tell you, I really question, and people will make you question, you know, as far as like how you're operating, what you're saying, what you're doing, because grief messes up your brain. You know, it does. It really, I always tell people it's like an egg, right? And you take an egg, you know, I don't like over easy. I'm a scramble person. You know, my husband is over easy with that little thing coming out. Yeah, I don't do that. I like to scramble. So imagine your brain, right, being an over easy egg. And it gets all chopped up after a while. And now we're telling this scrambled egg to become an over easy egg again. It's impossible, right? That's why our brain becomes kind of like fragmented. It feels divided. We're very forgetful. People are telling us stuff and we're questioning and we're believing it. That's exactly what happens through grief.
Sure.
And that pain that you were talking about, Rekishia, is so important because we have to be able to accept the pain, but also be able to go through the healing process.
Absolutely.
And so we can actually come out of and continue, you know, living that purpose. And I had to make that decision of I am choosing today that as much as I love my son, I also have a purpose. As much as I will never, ever forget Anthony, I have a purpose to fulfill. And one day when I'm called home, I can't look at him and say, oh, well, you know, that situation that happened back then, sorry, that's why I didn't fulfill my purpose. I want to be able to be told, well done, my good and faithful servant.
Hallelujah.
Woo. Yes. Amen. We could like collect the offering now. Yes. So how do these women lose themselves? Like, how do we get there? Like, what do you guys think has happened?
I think overfunctioning, overparenting, just overdoing, overthinking, and now you're in relationships. You overthought so much that you thought the relationship was your purpose.
Yes,
you thought
that
the child was your purpose. You thought this house, this job was my purpose, and you got stuck there.
Yes.
And when you realized it didn't come back. It had no what's the word when you talk about investments when it comes back?
Return?
It had no
no return on. That's okay.
I got you. On investment.
Yes.
Then you realize, oh my God, they're in a space like, what am I doing? I don't know where I am, and it get lost. You get lost in earthly things.
Yes.
And this is not where to get lost. You get lost in Christ. And that's what would change your whole perspective on life.
Yes. What about the comparison? You know, going back to what you were just talking about, as far as like those roles, as far as like that, we adopt that as our identity, right? So when women come into this office, and even men, I ask them, I said, give me 15 qualities as far as like who you are. Sometimes I just see the tears. Because they don't know who they are, you know? And so let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes, and to add to that, being lost and knowing who you are doesn't happen suddenly, but it happens in those what we call micro concessions. A little bit over time, you're giving a little bit of yourself into this role. You're giving a little bit of yourself into this role. Before you know it, you look in the mirror one day and you're wondering, who am I?
Has that ever happened to you, ladies? As far as like, who am I? That you've looked and you're like, where are you? Girl, where are you?
Yes. I have definitely had that moment. And it was towards the end of the marriage because I had totally lost myself. Totally lost myself knowing that this is not me. How do I recover and how do I get back?
So talk a little bit about that, because you know this is called you know healing in the raw, right? Where we have real and raw conversations. So what about that moment? Like, can you define what it looked like for you as far as like being lost?
Yes, because you are being someone that someone else thinks you should be versus not who God created you to be.
Yeah.
And so fulfilling all of these things outside of who I was not, Zashi, giving myself here, giving myself there, doing things I didn't even like.
Isn't that funny that we do things we don't even like?
Yep.
You're listening to music that doesn't even, it's not even what I like.
Yeah, like why am I listening
You're
to
just
this?
doing this because it's what the other person has wanted and set that standard for you. And so before you know it, you're like,
so you're living somebody else's life.
You're not happy. You're in the state of confusion. And it's like, okay, God, how did I get here? And how do I get out?
You know it when you're in it. You know it.
But you know what's funny? We don't even talk about it.
No.
Yeah.
Right? It's like we have like the secret.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm living
Who to
somebody
talk to.
else's life.
Right.
Yes.
You can't even go to your like closest person.
Yeah.
Right? Why is that? Like why do you think we can't even go? Shame.
But don't forget, I believe it's a tactic of the enemy.
Yes.
He uses shame. Shame started in the garden.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
You got to go all the way
See,
back.
that's she's a pastor, right? She went right back there. She said,
started in the garden. That was the first thing
Adam
he
and
brought
Eve
in.
just messed it all up.
Shame.
Yep, they messed it up.
Yeah, so I think we're even what you're talking about, like we get lost, and it's
Yes.
like we don't even know how to go to find ourselves, where to begin to find ourselves. Don't have
Yes.
a clue, and it's like if somebody's listening today, what would we tell them,
Yes.
or where would we tell them to start?
Yes.
Yes.
You know what? That's such a great question because I remember even Anthony when he had passed away, and I remember looking at myself in the mirror maybe like months after, and I remember just looking and saying, Lord, I don't know where to go from here.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you this right now, and I feel like I'm getting emotional because I remember looking and I'm like, who am I?
Yep.
Who am I without my oldest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because like I felt like we had like this great life, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember looking and I remember saying, Lord, if you don't get me through today,
Yes. God.
I can't do it. And I believe that it starts there. Number one, acknowledging that you're lost, that you feel lost. So that acknowledgement is so important because they may not even be able to speak to their closest person in their life.
for sure.
And I think being able to get to a point that you can look at yourself and acknowledge that this is where you are today.
Yes.
And you know what, Lord, I need you more. You know, there's a song that says that I need you more than yesterday, I believe it says.
Yeah.
I need you more today because I can't get through it.
Yeah.
And little by little, you start to like kind of like breathe a little, you know, and you can actually look at the little things and you even see maybe like a little butterfly outside and you're like, wow, that's beautiful. And you start to acknowledge and realize it. So if there's anyone out there that's listening and you feel that you're going through a struggle, we all have been there. We all, and I mean, there's so many other stories that we can tell. But it just takes that one moment when you recognize that you are lost and then beginning that journey and asking Jesus to really come into your life and help you get through it. Because I'm telling you, I remember I said, I can't get through this. Because if you don't help me, I just can't do it.
100%. And even when she was talking about, you know, after how you felt after the divorce, how lost you were. Do you guys realize after those traumas, we had to reinvent ourselves?
Oh my goodness.
Like
it's
that.
a whole new,
Oh my God.
but because there was never a Thumbelina in the divorce. I mean, in a passing, I'm sorry, right? There was never a Rekishia with the divorce. So these are new identities and we're trying to rediscover who we are, right? And people are looking at us and they want us to be the person that we were pre.
100%. So just so you know, I got a terrible history. It's not terrible. It's the most blessed history. So I've been a teen mom, married, single, divorced, widow, you name it.
Yes.
So I've been in all of these spaces.
Yes.
And from each space, I had to reinvent myself. This is the best reinvention I've ever had where I am right now. And it's because this is the closest I've ever been to God in my life.
And that's the key. It's like you have to hold on.
Yeah.
Even if it's by a thread, hold on. And if there's anyone listening to me, hold on because there is hope. 100%. And people do not realize that because where you are today, that's not where you're going to be tomorrow.
No, that's
right. But what you do today is going to define your tomorrow. And being able to get there and just hold on, you know, because it's like you said, you've been through all these different seasons, but you had to reinvent and discover that new you.
Yes. And remember, you are not your past or your parents.
Yes.
You are not.
Yes.
And if you can take that and accept it and accept that in, I'm telling you, life will just look different for you.
Yes.
It really will look different. So
Yes.
I've had to learn
because they're pieces of
they're
you.
pieces. It's
Yeah.
like
They're
putting
pieces.
a puzzle together.
Yes. And you know what? All those puzzles and all those pieces of the puzzle, they were so necessary for us to get here today.
Yes,
Can
they
you
were.
imagine that? Imagine each one of our journeys that we all went. You went through this whole list, right? My list consisted of so much trauma, right? It's like false identity, being like actually, brought to the United States and being here undocumented for 7 years. Then this whole image of myself, like not knowing who I was, not speaking Spanish anymore, all these different seasons, right? And there was like abuse, sexual, physical, emotional abuse. I go back and all this new identity, then coming back. There's been so many different things. And those pieces of those puzzles, it's what made me who I am today.
Go.
And I'm going to share with you, ladies, and I specifically told both of you guys that I specifically wore my hair up this way today.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that, right? And even though I know my beautiful Thumbelina said, I didn't even notice that, right? So for those that do not know, I had a very traumatic event when I was actually coming from my baby shower. Pregnant with Anthony, 8 months pregnant. And my brother was driving. He was on something, drunk, coming from the party. And then we went through a red light, 4:00 in the morning. My face went through a windshield, 8 months pregnant, broke my arm in two, my neck. My eye, I had stitches. This eye was just like bulged out. Stitches, so many different stitches coming up here. This was like, my husband describes this as a lip, open lip. I have tons of scars in my head. And I remember that night, I was not close to God. And I remember saying, if you are going to take me, Lord, today, please accept me. And I'm so sorry about all, for all the sins that I've committed, but God. And that going through that process was also a very devastating time. But when I tell you that after he passed away, I was, we got into this little argument, God and I, right? And I was telling him, I said, why didn't you just take him then?
Right.
And right away, the Holy Spirit reminded me, would you have preferred me to take him or the 24 years that I gave you? And I was so convicted.
Yeah.
So convicted. But these are seasons and these are things, those are parts of the puzzle.
Yes.
And I don't know how you see that, Dr. Rekishia.
Even as you were talking about the puzzle, my grandfather was a big puzzle person. So as a child, I was fascinated
Yes, with puzzles.
the puzzles.
Yes.
And it's the same way that God operates because we don't see the whole picture.
Yes.
Right. It's just as we go, the pieces are put together
Yes.
in that puzzle.
Yes.
And when we get to the end, we get to the level where we can say, truly, I understand now what you had in store for me when we see the beautiful picture of the puzzle together. Because at the time, the pieces are all over the place. It doesn't look
It's
like
frustrating.
much. It's like a mess. You're like, how am I even going to get through this? And it's the same thing with our journey.
Yes.
That everything, nothing is wasted. Every
Yes.
piece, every part, every component of our life is part of the puzzle.
Yes.
Even the ones that are painful,
Yes.
the joyful moments, the sorrowful moments. All of those pieces comprise that total picture.
Yeah.
And there are many puzzles in our lives that we have to put together,
Yes.
whether that's in our relationships, whether that's in ministry, whether that's in the calling that God has on our lives. There is a puzzle for every moment, and the pieces are not wasted.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I was just reminded as you were talking, when I was talking about that scar, and I had shared with Thumbelina that I was bound. I would not even go out in public like this because I felt very shameful. And I have to admit, from time to time, I go to the beauty salon and stuff all the time, and it's like part of me, but it was only until after Anthony passed away. Imagine, that was 9 years ago that I really started to actually,
free.
And my sister-in-law said to me, maybe like 2 years ago, she said, I'm so proud of you that I finally see you actually wearing your scar. And my friend, when I was telling him that I wanted to go for plastic surgery after this had happened, and he said, Sashi, how are people going to know about Christ? if you cover the scars. And I was reminded of even Jesus when he came back. He could have came back without scars.
Yeah,
but when he showed up to his disciples, he showed them the scars for them to believe.
Yeah.
And this is a testimony of my beautiful baby Anthony, you know, of the 24 years of life. So when I wear it now, I look at it and I'm like, wow. Someone said to me, like, you don't think about your brother, like what he did? And I'm like, actually, I don't.
Right.
And I have such a beautiful
'Cause you're free
relationship
from
with
it.
him. Yes. But that's freedom.
There
Yes.
you go.
You know, it's such a freedom, you know, that we can actually sit here today and talk about it and really encourage these women out there. You know, it's like Steve Jobs says, you can only connect the dots looking backwards.
Yeah.
And
So good.
that's the pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
You know, so what happens when we actually ignore that, those parts of us that are like screaming to be free?
Yeah, you never become whole to get the freedom. You'll never become a whole puzzle. You'll never become a whole. So
There's always that missing
it's
piece.
missing piece, and you know it. You live it like this is not it. You go get the job you think you want it, and you're like,
Imposter syndrome.
yes, you
Yes.
get it, and you're like, oh, this is it, and then it's like, no, this isn't it. You get
Yeah.
into the relationships, you think this is what I
Yes.
needed, and then it's like, no, this is not it. You know,
Yeah.
so like you said, it's imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
and that's what happens when those pieces are missing.
Yeah. To add to that,
Yes.
the body and the soul keep the score.
Yes.
That you can
That's a
try
great
to
book.
hide it.
Yes.
It's going to show up in
Yes.
different ways if we do not address it.
So since you're on that topic, right, and you are our you're our specialist in that area, can you talk a little bit like how does this show up in our bodies when we're not free?
Oh, yeah. So many times when people have symptoms, they automatically relate that to a physical condition. However, many times it is really a soul condition because there's emotional pain that is
Ay, ay,
trapped
ay.
in your tissues, your ligaments, your
Yes.
joints. And so when you're having these pains in the body, we've got to trace back to where that pain is actually coming from. Was it something that happened to you in your younger years? Was it
Yes.
sexual abuse? Were you sexually assaulted, molested? Was it something that was said to you verbally?
Yes,
Were
that
there
critical
some
voice.
financial
Yes.
things that happened to you? And you're holding these things within the body. And so
But
the
it could come out years
symptoms-
later, right?
Absolutely.
It's the same like trauma, then, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. It manifests in the form of symptoms, but we are so
This
busy looking
conversation
at the
is so good.
superficial.
Yes.
But we're not willing to do that, like what I like to call that deep sea diving
Yes.
in the
Soul
soul.
That's so
The
work.
soul work
Yes.
to really address some of the physical conditions that we're experiencing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to the doctor this morning and he said, are you like stressed out? Like, do you have anything? Because they thought first it was like asthma and wheezing and stuff like that. And I was like, no. And then he goes, I really think that he said it's not asthma. He said something about like voice dysfunctionality. He said as far as like because of the fact that I talk pretty much like all day.
Yeah.
So now I have to go to speech therapy. But it's just so funny how you were talking about that. Because of the trauma, like we hold it in our bodies and we don't even realize like when
Unknowingly,
it can actually start to, you know,
Oh, yeah,
manifest itself.
absolutely.
And you said something so powerful. And I remember someone saying to me years ago, because there's an issue with us Christians. We believe, okay, and I say this very cautiously, but I have to say it, right? Because we're talking real and raw stuff up in here, is that a lot of Christians believe that once you say, yes, Lord, I love you, you know, that all these emotional issues, they just disappear. And that is a lie from the enemy.
Yes, it
It's
is.
not a Christian, it's not a spiritual issue. It's an emotional issue.
There you go.
And that's the reason why. And we have to really understand that this is not something that you could just snap out of it. You need to work through it.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, have
Like
you
she was
seen
talking
that?
about the soul work.
Yes.
I think people don't understand that. Listen, I go through physical work first. Before you can talk about the soul, go talk to a therapist.
Yes.
You ready? Before you come to the pastor.
See, we
Go to
need
the
more
doctor.
people like
Listen to
you.
this. Before you go to the pastor, look, check this out.
Let's clap for that.
Before you go to the pastor, go to the doctor and then go see your therapist and then call me.
Absolutely.
Call me at the end because you've done some work.
Yeah.
Now God could work with you.
Yes.
So, and I think that's part of the problem. Like They come thinking God could heal and he could, but you have to do your work.
Yes.
You have to surrender.
Yes.
There's things that you have to do. And I'm like, I don't like praying for people. I don't like calling altar calls. I'm not a fan of it because sometimes people want to come just to get a word. I want to know what God is saying to me because you think somebody's a psychic. I'm not a psychic. I'm not your
Ooh.
psychic.
Wow.
Seek the Lord yourself.
Okay.
So I really don't like laying hands. I will do it under the instruction of the Lord.
Yes.
Once he tells me, I'll do it. But
Right.
if he
But you
doesn't,
won't just, okay.
no, I just won't go and say, oh, let's just call an altar call. No, because you're bringing up spirits over here. I don't need that either. So I think that people need to know that there's work to do before you even get to the work that Christ wants you to do.
Wow, that's such an interesting way that a concept, because I've never heard anyone actually say something like that.
Yeah.
Because we come to the altar and people get frustrated because they feel like they're surrendering and surrendering and surrendering. But what are you surrendering?
Right.
Yeah.
You
Sometimes
know?
they don't know. I'm just here.
Yes.
Right.
I've done altar calls and I say, what do you need prayer for? And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just here.
I'm just showing up.
Yeah.
And I'll pray a
Yeah.
general prayer, unless God gives me something, which he normally does.
Yes.
But I think that people are, they're lost. They really don't know what to do. And I think therapy helps. Start by, we said, how do we tell somebody to start? Start by creating boundaries. Because a lot of times, a lot of things can be healed if you said no. People don't know how big no is. You mean you stop the enemy in his tracks by saying no. Boundaries, seeing a doctor, seeing a therapist. There are things that you need to do.
And
help
that's
heal.
in James, right?
Yeah.
What good is faith without the works?
It's dead.
Right?
You got to
It's
do
dead.
some work. And you really, and I think you said it earlier, the first step is awareness.
Yes.
Are you aware that there's a problem?
Yes. Because people don't know.
They don't have a clue.
Oh my gosh.
Awareness, I think, is number one. Are you aware that there is something wrong?
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, no, I'm fine. I think that I have a great life. I have a home. I have a car. I have a husband. My kids are
I'm
well.
blessed and highly favored.
Oh, we have money in the bank and everything. And they are just as lost as they can be.
Yes.
I think a lot of times that we do confuse the spiritual issue with the soul issue. And people don't know how to differentiate between the two.
Yes.
Because people don't understand the nature of the soul.
Yes.
That is where the trauma, the mental conditions take place. And so we're
And
trying
that's
to
where
spiritualize a soul issue.
Yes.
Where a lot of it comes through understanding and awareness and helping them to understand like the purpose of the soul and how to bring that soul into alignment and healing, because it's not a spiritual issue. It is a soul issue that has to be addressed.
I got a question for you. How would somebody recognize that they have a soul issue?
Yes. That's a great question.
That's a great question. So it starts with understanding how the soul operates and how it functions, right? Because many times we hear about the spirit, your spirit, but we rarely receive teachings on the soul. What is your soul? Your mind, your will, your emotions, your imagination, your intellect, right? And if those areas in your life, some area in your life has been impacted, do you find yourself being ruled by your emotions? When somebody says something to you, you automatically go off.
Emotional and dysregulated.
Yes, that is one of the number one tell signs that you've got a soul issue. If you're holding anger or bitterness, you're not addressing it. A soul issue. You can go on and say, I'm blessed and highly favored all day long.
All you want.
But if you got bitterness, resentfulness, this stuff holding within your soul, you are not healed. You are not healed. And so it's bringing an awareness of an understanding of what the soul is. And bringing in the things to the forefront. Are you experiencing emotional dysregulation in your life? And then we can really start to begin to work from there.
I think that's great. Like the function of the soul. If we studied that, we would know a lot of our issues.
There's a great book. I just want to put this out by Watchman Nee that was written in the 1920s.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Stuff like that.
And this man was truly anointed in dissecting the condition of the soul versus the spirit.
He's a phenomenal writer,
One of the most transformational works on the soul and the operation. This is why we have so much dysfunction in the body
That's
of
good.
Christ
Yes.
right now
Yes.
because we are not bringing in alignment with the body, the soul, and the spirit.
Yeah.
And I think that the church has to be much more open to that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, to be able to recognize that and not just feed us, you know, these little sprinkles of you come to Jesus and everything is okay. And then you walk away, but you are still struggling with a soul issue.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and again, it
absolutely.
has nothing to do with you loving Jesus. It's like,
right.
if you think about, if someone has diabetes, they give them medication.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
You still pray about it,
Yeah.
but you still get medication. So you're doing both at the same time. Why is it so difficult for us Christians to really understand that there's an issue
Yeah.
Absolutely.
inside? But if there's no awareness, you're going to continue in the same cycle.
Oh, absolutely.
So I know that this conversation is so good, right? And we can keep going on and on.
Yeah.
But we do have to actually kind of begin to wrap it up. But what would you say, you know, to these women that are out there that are like just tired of living someone else's life? That they're comparing themselves like to social media. They're seeing how some other, you know, people are maybe thriving and they feel that they're just pretty much on survival mode. And they're just like, well, how do I find my freedom?
Yeah.
You know, and we're going to talk about the freedom experience in a little bit, but what would you tell that individual that's out there?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think awareness, that's number one. Knowing that there's a problem.
Yes.
And next, what are you willing to do about it?
Yes, there you
Because
go.
just because we know there's a problem, that doesn't, you knew there was a problem 20 years ago,
Yes.
but you didn't do anything about it. Where are you now? Because I think that's the first step. You know there's a problem. Wonderful. What do you want to do?
Yes.
And that will determine what comes next.
Yes.
You want to do something about it? Let's find out what problem you think it is. Is it the soul? Is it soul work? Study the soul. There are things that you can do, and we're talking about that.
Yes.
But I think it's really up to, you know you have a problem. You're
But
aware.
you're the one that has to seek the help.
You have to seek the help.
Yes. No one
You
can do
have
it for
to do
you.
something. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I
And
love
what
that.
are you willing to do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you
once
so
you're willing
much.
to do stuff, you can start seeking out the people who can direct you and guide you.
professionals.
The professionals.
Yes,
Not the people,
absolutely.
the professionals,
Yes.
like the doctor,
Yes.
therapist,
Yes.
and the pastor.
Yes. We got the three in the room
That's
right
right.
now.
That's
That's
right.
what I'm talking about.
That's right.
Yes. And what
Yes.
about you, Rekishia?
You know, I really believe it starts with having a personal conversation with self and being really real
Yes.
with where we are at. Because sometimes it's so easy to continue to dismiss what's really present,
Yes.
but we cannot heal what we continue to conceal.
Yes.
And it's
Yes,
having
that's
that
so good.
honest conversation, looking at yourself in the mirror, whether it's, girl, you need to get your life together.
Yes.
And we're going to start today.
Yes.
We're going to start today with being
Yes.
honest,
Mm-hmm.
being real. And then I think it also starts with nurturing who you are and caring for yourself as a woman,
Yeah.
being a friend to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think about your close, if you have a best friend,
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend, and you do certain things with her, you want to do special things
Mm-hmm.
for her, start doing that for yourself.
Yeah.
Taking care of, nurturing yourself spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
mentally, emotionally,
Yes.
physically, on all ends.
That holistic
Begin
approach.
to take
Yeah.
care of yourself.
Yeah.
Don't expect anyone else to do that unless
Mm-hmm.
it starts with you.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. And I think that sometimes, you know, these women, they don't even know, you know, where to start. And you pretty much shared it, you know, Thumbelina, as far as like, you have to, number one, right, building that awareness, but then seeking those professionals
Oh, yeah.
that can actually help you. Because if you don't,
Yeah.
you're going to stay stuck, you know?
Yeah, and I want to say, if somebody's not ready, there's nothing you can do about it. A lot of people are not ready to, you know, we say face the demons or deal with the trauma because they don't want to go back to that time.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to go back to that dungeon,
Yes.
that time. It's almost, you
Recovery
call it-
work.
Yes, you have to go back. And a lot of people aren't ready for that.
Yes.
So until you're ready for that,
Yes.
and you've had enough and you're tired of
You're
being
tired of being tired. Yes.
then you know you'll be stuck there for another 20 years until you're ready.
Yes.
I pray that this podcast help encourage women
Yeah.
to be so sick and tired of
being
living that
tired.
way.
Yes.
you're so tired of being tired that you want to do something.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it. I'm ready to do some soul work. I'm ready to do some
Yes.
work
Yeah.
on me, in me. Like, where do I start?
Yes.
And you might need to call the doctor, the therapist, or
Yes.
the pastor.
Yes. Ooh, the
For the
thrill.
freedom
Trifecta.
Yes,
trifecta.
yes, to the freedom experience. So so since you already threw that out there, so we have actually, this trio has come together, the powerhouse to come together and actually share with each one of you ladies. Listen, we have 50 spots open, and we are so looking forward to this freedom experience where you meet you. And there's a reason for that, because God literally placed in my heart months ago, and it's been years, but it started to really, really download in terms of exactly like coming together with other women that are actually struggling, because there's so many different women that are struggling. I want to say, if I could put money on it, that almost every single person, right, has struggled with something. If you haven't struggled, then you're not a human being.
Yes.
Right? To be able to come to the freedom experience. And I want you each to actually share what made you guys actually say yes to this event that we're going to be having.
Oh, I said yes because I want to see our sisters free.
Yes.
I want
Yes.
them to be free in their body, in their soul, in their
Yes.
spirit. And how could I not say yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was just the right thing to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The right thing
Listen,
to do.
I'm with her. I had to say yes because, listen, my church is called Transformed Generation. I'm in the business of allowing God to use me to help transform
Yes.
not just women, men and children,
Yes.
sick and seniors. It doesn't
Yes.
matter what you are. So it was a privilege and an honor to
Yes.
even jump on board with the doctor, the therapist, and the mom pastor.
And the pastor.
What an honor. And I just think
Yes.
this is going to be a transformational event. And I'm
Yes.
excited to see what God is going to do through us and in
Yes.
us to help the body of Christ and people and his children. I'm
Yes.
excited to see. So
Yes.
I had to say yes.
Yes. So beautiful. So when is it? It's October 23rd to the 25th. We are looking for a woman to come out and just be free, let loose. You know, I think we've gotten to a position in our lives that we believe that as an adult, we cannot adult and still have fun. You know, so we're going to have workshops. We're going to have even a faith and fitness in the morning. There's going to be just so many different areas and you know, as far as like related to freedom. And we're going to have a sisterhood.
Yeah.
You know, and we're also going to have fun activities as well. Those that want to kayak, if you want to rock climb, if you want to zip line, you could do all of that.
Right.
But it's going to be a holistic approach. We're going to have clinicians also on board, our spiritual team as well. So you're going to be getting all these different components. And I've been to retreats, but I've never been to a retreat that has all these various components into one. So we are waiting for you, ladies, to come out and just
Yes.
really find your true self and really find that wholeness that God has actually called you to walk in. So I'm going to give you guys each a minute, you know, or a few seconds just to kind of share and wrap up in terms of, you know, what would you tell them or, you know, your final remarks as we wrap up.
I would say, ladies, as Zachi shared, this is a moment where you can meet you.
Yes.
And this is a time to find out who you are. It's a time of self-discovery. Make the commitment. Don't think about it. Just say yes to the moment, because it will be one of the most transformational experiences
Yes.
that you have ever had, because it is time for us to step into purpose. It is time for us to step into destiny.
Yes.
There is a work to do in the kingdom. We need you. Your gifts are
Yes.
needed.
Yes.
And so come and be a part of this truly, truly incredible time.
Yes.
And I want to say, ladies, if you're looking for where do I start,
There you go.
try the freedom experience.
Yes.
You want to know where to start?
Yes.
Everybody that you need to see, all the professionals are there. You know what I'm going to say?
I know what
The
you're going to
doctor,
say.
the therapist, and the pastor. They are there waiting for you,
Yes.
waiting to help you and to take you to the next level
Yes.
of, you know, doing this journey of transformation. So come out, get excited about it. Do something for yourself.
Yes.
Finally do something for yourself.
Yes.
Go ahead and put that deposit down.
Yes.
Because it's like, I want to do something for me. It's time for you to be transformed. And I'm telling you, you don't want to miss this freedom experience, because
Yes.
you will walk away free.
Oh my gosh. And a lot of us come up with these different excuses.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to take care of the papacito. I have to take care of the kids and everything else. You know what? You've been pouring so much into everyone.
Yeah.
You need to stop and actually recognize that you need time for yourself.
Absolutely.
So definitely all the information is going to be actually in the notes. Definitely call us as well. Ladies, I thank you so much for being here and for saying yes to the calling. And imagine that a weekend of all these ladies and so many other ladies and professionals coming together because you are that important to us. Yeah. And if we actually are dedicating this time, you guys need to come out. So thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you have definitely more questions, you can definitely reach out to us. But we look forward to seeing you at the Freedom Experience where you meet you. And until next time, hasta la próxima. Sal y vale.